It's over. You saw it. So now what? Hey guys, before you get started, make sure you click that subscribe button. And if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. The time has come and you survived the movie, but what happens now? Did your favorite Avengers survive? And what does the future look like for them? Well, let's talk about it. And that's going to involve spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, make sure you click away. Here's your chance. I don't want to spoil it for you. Well, if you saw the movie, you realize that Avengers Endgame really puts the focus on the original 6 Avengers and expands the story of many of the other characters. It especially leaves the original 6 in very different places than we found them when the movie began. Some lived, some died, and some have been put on a new path that drastically alters the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So let's have a what happens now moment, and we'll start with the original core Avengers, starting with Iron Man. Sadly, Iron Man, Tony Stark, is dead, so his future is looking pretty bleak for the MCU. His sacrifice probably can't be undone, and after being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe since 2008, I think Robert Downey Jr.'s time as Tony Stark is at an end. However, this doesn't mean he'll never return again, or we'll never see Iron Man in the MCU again. We may see him in another form, or with another actor. Only time will tell. But for now, Iron Man's out. Next up, Captain America. Unexpectedly, Cap did not die, but he is now an old man, so I don't really expect any more of his story to be moving forward. Also, it really wouldn't surprise me if Cap actually has an off-screen death similar to Peggy Carter in Captain America Civil War. However, we're left with a couple of options here. We do have a long period of time where Steve was in the past, which could lay the seeds for another potential Captain America movie with Chris Evans. And more importantly, he passed on the shield, so the story of Captain America clearly is not over. We'll talk about Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, in just a minute. I pretty much expect this story to play out on Disney+, and I had postulated a couple of storylines, so we'll have to wait and see. Next up, Thor. Well, there was a big change to Thor in this movie, and I don't know that I totally liked it. Okay, maybe I did. By the end of the movie, Thor had decided that New Asgard should be ruled by a Valkyrie, and he boards the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. He's pretty much completely shrugged off the fact that he's meant to take his father's place as Asgard's ruler, and now seems pretty intent on having fun, traveling through the cosmos, and being a hero. Now it's unclear if we can expect to see Thor in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, what that means for a 4th Thor movie, or the future of the MCU. We'll just have to wait and see. Black Widow. Well, just like Gamora did, suffers an irreversible death by leaping off the cliffs of Vormir in order to obtain the Soul Stone and prevent Hawkeye from doing the same thing. The movie makes it pretty clear that those that take the fall will not come back, and it seems as if Natasha's story is now well and truly over. And it also makes it pretty clear that the upcoming Solo movie will be a prequel, probably exploring her past as an operative for the Red Room and how she ends up joining Hawkeye and S.H.I.E.L.D. Next up, Hawkeye. Well, we opened the movie with Hawkeye pretty much brutally murdering all those people that he thought should have died in the snap and got lucky. Well, lucky for a little while. By the time the movie ends, his family's been returned to him and he gets to have what appears to be a happy ending. We do have an upcoming series with Disney Plus that is said where he'll train Kate Bishop as his replacement, so I don't think we've seen the last of Jeremy Renner or Hawkeye. It's unclear whether he'll still be a hero or retire, but either way, it's going to be fun seeing where this show takes it. The Hulk. During that 5-year time jump, Bruce Banner also underwent a metamorphosis, turning himself into Professor Hulk. But after using the Infinity Gauntlet to bring everybody back, his arm has been left horribly damaged, and although he appears to be healing by the end of the movie, it's still very unclear what the future holds for the Green Goliath. Will this injury kill him, or will it put him into a retired state? We'll have to wait and see. Either way, I think it's time for Mark Ruffalo to negotiate a new contract with Marvel, so that's probably the pivotal piece. Then there was everybody else. Probably the biggest group affected were the Guardians of the Galaxy. By the end of the movie, the Guardians of the Galaxy were completely reunited. Star-Lord, Drax, Groot, Mantis, and Gamora have all been brought back. Well, we'll talk a little about Gamora in a second. More importantly, they appear to have a new member, Thor. And although the Guardians are reunited and Star-Lord doesn't seem particularly amused by Thor's insistence that he's the new team leader, although the rest of the group likes to rib him, it does appear we may have some interesting things in the future for the Guardians of the Galaxy. We also have a new Gamora, and this is not the Gamora we remember. This is the Gamora from pre-Guardians of the Galaxy. She doesn't love Peter, and she doesn't even know the rest of the team. This will add a pretty interesting dynamic to the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and the franchise going forward, assuming she stays with the crew. Lots of other Avengers made it back, and all of their franchises are clearly being set up by Marvel Studios for future installments. The Black Panther is back, and although we don't learn what happened to Wakanda in his absence, by the time the movie comes to a close, he's clearly back in his home nation and watching over it alongside his mother and his sister. Is he still the king? Well, Ryan Coogler is going to have to work all that out in a sequel, so we'll have to wait and see. There's also clearly a lot in store for Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and the Wasp. The movie made a point of keeping Carol Danvers to a minimum, so I imagine her absence was really there to reinforce the idea that she is a space-based character and not meant to be on Earth. Also, the development of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and of course Cassie Lang, who is now 5 years older, seems to set up a path to Young Avengers. In the Young Avengers, she's known as Stature. We'll have to wait and see on that front, but the last we get to see Scott in the movie, he's spending some time with his daughter and Hope, but clearly Marvel is not going to let this franchise go to waste. We also got a bit of Nick Fury. Not a lot. Nick lives. That's pretty much all we can say, because he really did nothing throughout the movie. But since he's part of Spider-Man Homecoming, we know he's got a spot in the future of the MCU. And then there's Valkyrie. Valkyrie, along with several other characters from Ragnarok, Korg, and Meek, made a return in Avengers Endgame. By the end of the movie, she was appointed the Queen of New Asgard by Thor himself. We have no idea what this means for a potential Thor sequel, a Valkyrie movie, or anything else, but it was an unexpected turn for the movie, and I liked it. And then there's the Sorcerer Supreme. Doctor Strange really didn't get an ending, and presumably he recovered the Sorcerer Supreme title from Wong after manning the post for 5 years. All the pieces are in place for him to simply pick up and start guarding the Earth again and drive us right into a sequel. Now let's talk about those Disney Plus series and how they tie into this. Obviously, we got some Scarlet Witch, who was brought back, but we never saw the Vision. We don't have any other details about the series, so I'll have to sit and wait, and with all the time travel shenanigans that went on in this movie, it does make me want to consider that idea that their series will be set in the 1950s. Although I do believe she just meant a 1950s style sitcom. We do have that Falcon and the Winter Soldier series coming up, which makes me wonder if they're going to change the name of that series now that Sam has taken up the shield. Maybe Captain America and the White Wolf? Who knows? And finally, Loki. Loki is probably the most interesting thing. And when you watch the movie, when they return to 2012, a mistake by Tony Stark and Scott Lang sees the imprisoned Loki steal the Tesseract and get away. How this affects the timeline, we have no idea. It's also pretty unclear whether it was undone when Steve Rogers went back in time to steal the Tesseract beforehand. I believe this opens the door for almost anything for Loki in the future. We'll have to wait and see. And finally, last but not least, Thanos. It appears Thanos is out of the picture, at least for now. His original version is beheaded by Thor and then manages to return to the future and be snapped away by Tony Stark. The Mad Titan is clearly dead. But this is comics, and who knows what the future holds. I would not be surprised to see Thanos return, although Josh Brolin did confirm his contract as Thanos was on a picture-to-picture deal, so they don't have him locked into anything, so we can't speculate. Thanos was such a huge villain over this first part of the MCU, I can't imagine them bringing him back anytime soon. It would undermine the story and sacrifice that we just finished, and I don't believe they would do that. Keep your eyes open for several other villains that could come about. Galactus, Kang, or Annihilus all would be great. So tell me what you guys think. Did you like Avengers Endgame, and what do you think about the future of all your favorite MCU characters? And did any of the end results surprise you? I have to say, they really didn't for me. Tony dying and Steve finally getting his dance made it all very worthwhile. I really do think we all got to see cinematic history in the making. Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you press like below, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.